Good evening, everyone. Good evening, colleagues. From wherever you are joining, I can see Prof. Frederick Atoama has joined us. It's great to see you, Prof. Welcome.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm most grateful.
Yes, Prof. All right. Welcome, everyone, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. We are happy to have you this evening joining us on this first edition of the ASFI Science Seminar Series for 2024. Thank you to all those who have been joining us in the past. Welcome back. For those who are joining us for the first time, we also welcome you this evening. My name is Bright Mar. I'm the convener of this platform. I'm joining you from Sweden here. And I have my co-convener, Dr. Eman Sok. I'll give her the mic to welcome you, and then we'll kick off. Eman.
Hello, welcome everyone, and Happy New Year for those who didn't meet us during 2024. I am Iman Sobh, Associate Professor of Respiratory Diseases at Al-Azhar University, Egypt. I am from Egypt, but now I am joining from Saudi Arabia. I am working at Taiba University in Medina, Saudi Arabia. I am the Director of Science and Communication for African Science Frontiers Initiative. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to join our family. As I said each time, it is family, and it is a good opportunity for you all to communicate, collaborate, interact, have collaboration opportunities with each one, and the discussions here are fruitful and also positive in improving and building the capacity of researchers and academics in Africa. The results of these seminars and discussion will be reflected on designing the future plan for ASFI, for training and also research and all scientific activities, including the conference and bootcamp. So welcome everyone. Don't miss this opportunity and use this to interact and collaborate. Thanks.
Many thanks, Eman, for that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have, as we have been doing in the last 3 years, we have been holding this seminar series. We have the theme we are running with in this year, and the theme is Innovation in Research, Africa's Panacea. All right, this evening we'll start with the question, what is innovation in research? And we have a friend of the house. I'll introduce him formally when I get to that point. Prof. Frederick Atoama, he will be taking us through that. So we'll be running with this theme, and I believe that you will follow us through, because these are important issues as academicians, scientists, researchers, scholars, whichever one you call yourself, we should be doing in the current dispensation we find ourselves. All right, I will take you through as usual for the sake of those who are joining the platform for the first time. And also for the benefit of those who have been joining us before, I will make some introductory remarks, and then we will get into the program. This program is usually planned for 2 hours, but we hope that we can finish before then and send you home to get ready for tomorrow. All right, just for practical issues, you are muted on entry. That is because we are recording this, so we want seamless and noiseless recording. But once it gets to time to speak, you just use the raise hand button, and then we'll recognize you. The other thing is that some of you who already know the system have already started introducing yourselves. Please feel free to introduce yourself using the chat box. Tell us your name, where you're from, your affiliation, the country you're joining from, and if possible, also indicate your research interest. Several connections have been made through this platform, collaborations established, networks formed. So please utilize the opportunity that we have here to make necessary connections. All right. Okay. So this program is brought to you by the African Science Frontiers Initiatives. African Science Frontiers Initiatives, we call it. Most often you hear people call ASFI or ASFI or ASFI. Yeah, this program is brought to you, and we have been running the science seminar series since 2021. All right, so we are actually entering the fourth year. Like I mentioned earlier, each year we have a theme we are running with, and we are working with the theme of innovation in research this year. The African Science Frontiers Initiatives was born as a child of necessity to try to support capacity building in research amongst Africans, given the situation we find ourselves when it comes to competitive research. Africa lags so much behind, and one of the factors that contribute to this is lack of capacity. Lack of capacity has been a major factor. And so the African Science Frontiers Initiatives has been established to try to fill this gap by bringing African researchers together to raise conversations that will support and motivate us, and then to organize workshops, training opportunities, try to improve what African researchers and scholars are currently doing. That is why we have our vision to raise the next generation of African scientists with the right competencies to drive Africa's developmental and transformational agenda through innovative scientific research. Our mission is to instill excellence in African science through competence acquisition, capacity building, and career development. And doing this, we want to support African science that will contribute to Africa's development. We have been here since 2020. We started, the seminar series has started 2021, but the organization has been there since 2020. And we are happy with the support we have received from African scientists across board, young and old. The platform has become a home for many African scientists. That is encouraging. So far, we have around 8,500 African scientists who are on the ASFI mailing list, so who receive our monthly newsletters, all the information. So this is a great encouragement to see that African scientists appreciate opportunities to improve their career. You can see already this evening we are 10 minutes into the program, and we have crossed the 100 participants on this platform. People joining from all over the continent and also outside Africa. So we believe that this is a platform that will encourage every one of us. The activities of ASFI, we have seminars like we have this evening, we have workshops, and these are forums that we organize to raise conversations, to encourage ourselves, to support, and then to fine-tune some of the things we know, and to also raise other agenda for our career. Then we have hands-on courses we organize across the science research spectrum. We have research method courses, we have career-based courses, we have leadership courses, we have issues in science communication and academic writing, grant writing, and so on and so forth. So we have been having these trainings, and they have been quite popular. The current one we are running, we admitted close to 300 people, and we had around 1,100 people who applied to the course we are currently running, reproducibility in scientific research. So these courses have been very popular, and we appreciate the effort people put to improve their capacity. We also, since the beginning of last year, we introduced membership routes to the organization. So we have ASFI General Assembly membership with leaders cutting across the continent. And so if you want to belong to the ASFI membership, I will come back to that later on. And within that, we have mentoring program and other programs that organize for members. All right. And then we have research programs as well. These research programs are programs that we have initiated, try to uncover the situation with certain topical issues around African science, African scholars, African academics. One of the project we have done, we are currently working now to try to publish it, is the issue of research grant writing, research funding in Africa. We also have another project that is ongoing on issues of quality and impact in African research. And we'll have another one we just launched yesterday, which I will introduce to you, on research misconduct in Africa. And we have sent that information out. Please, I will encourage you, take your time. It shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes to complete the survey. It is important that we can have this evidence to support our conversation and to also make our voices heard. Yeah, as I mentioned, this year for the seminar series, we'll be working on innovation in research, Africa's PANACEA, and you can see on your screen the topics we have outlined. The goal is that between January and June this year, we'll be looking at different concept theoretical bases around the issues of innovation and research. And then from July to December, we're inviting people who have been involved in innovative research to showcase what they have done as examples of how these things are put into practice. So please don't fail to join all the sessions. Another thing we do, the first edition for this year, which was actually the 22nd edition, is Dr. Warren's Research Tips and Tricks. We had on Friday, just last Friday, was the January edition. This is organized every last Friday of each month. Just a 1-hour program. We call it a research clinic. This year we are running with the theme, Scientist Success Virtues. And the last one we had on Friday was on who is a scientist. Then from February and going forward, we'll be looking at different virtues of the scientists. Many times, the success of what we do as scientists, researchers, goes beyond our offices. We need to carry certain virtues with us that will support what we do on a daily basis, and that is what we want to really highlight during the course of this year. All right, and then with regards to the courses ASFI runs, you can see them on the screen. We are running the reproducibility in scientific research now, and that will be ending in 2 weeks' time. We have the systematic reviews and meta-analysis one coming in March. We have research quality, productivity, and impact. We have data analysis course mid-year. We'll have the ethics in research to be arranged, and then art of science leadership, research funding and grant writing, and art of scientific writing and publishing. All of these courses are very popular. People attend them, and I promise you, they never leave the same. And I think those who have come can testify on the chat box. Yeah, the systematic reviews and meta-analysis one, the advert is still on, application is still on, I mean. So please, my colleagues will be putting the links on the chat box. And if you are on our mailing list, you should have this information. We also have the ASFI WhatsApp group for information, quick information. So if you want to join the ASFI WhatsApp group, you're not there already, my colleagues will put the link on the chat box. So please follow that link and join us. But the application for this course is still on, and the application for the quality, productivity, and impact is also on. So please try to register and join us. And then one of the platforms, very fantastic thing we achieved in the year 2023. The platform is still being fine-tuned, but it is now opened. We call it ASFI Scholar. ASFI Scholar. We describe it as one-stop shop for African scholars to learn, mentor, collaborate, publish, and be visible. This is a platform similar to the other platforms you belong. Perhaps you belong to LinkedIn, you belong to ResearchGate, you belong to different other platforms. We are creating a place for African researchers to come together and collaborate, network, learn. The ASFI Scholar has additional functions. We have opportunity, if you want to collaborate, to create a space within the platform where you can bring your collaborative project and then manage it there. It's a platform where you can bring your resources. It may be your teaching resources, maybe in forms of video, maybe in forms of podcast, maybe in forms of books, papers. You can bring all of them to the platform. It is opened, and so you can sign yourself up there, sign up there and join us. Our plan is we organize a session to show people how to navigate and do the multiple things that the platform offers. But the first thing is for you to sign up, then we'll be getting back to you in due course to guide you through the possibilities within the platform. And within also a sister platform we organize is what we call the ASFI Meet. That is a video conferencing platform. For those who attended our annual conference and bootcamp last November, we use the ASFI Meet as a platform to view the posters that were submitted. So the ASFI Meet can be described as the African Zoom or Teams or a video conferencing platform. But ASFI Meet has additional thing that it's also a place that if you want to do electronic poster viewing. The ASFI Meet offers that possibility. So we have said for this whole year, for ASFI members who would like to organize their meetings, it's free of charge for ASFI members to utilize to do that. All right, then we, following from the very, very resounding success we had during the ASFI Maiden annual conference and bootcamp last year. It was a very huge success. We really appreciated the efforts everyone put, the support, the attendance, the different programs. We have already started plans for this year. And we have the theme as revolutionizing perspective, unleashing innovation in African research. So the issue of innovation also comes up here as a theme we're running with this year. So the date has been set, so please mark your calendar. The call for abstract and registration perhaps will come up next month or latest beginning of March. We'll be opening opportunities for you to submit your abstract. We were so impressed with the abstract that were submitted during the conference last year. We had, I think, around 40 oral abstract and then around the same number for poster abstract. We want to go beyond that this year, and because it's a multidisciplinary platform, a multidisciplinary conference, so abstract from any field is acceptable. So please mark your calendar, and we'll be able to send you the necessary information in due course. Yes, one of the things that we also launched during the conference last year that is coming out, we are rolling it out soon, is the ASFI Research Journal, to be a multidisciplinary journal. It is in the offing. We are finalizing the practical things that are required to roll it out, and we hope that soon you will hear about that. Our goal is to set the pace for excellent research publishing in Africa, and we believe you'll be able to support us in that. Yeah, so I've mentioned the theme we are running with this year, and I will be also leading you in convening it, that, and my co-convener, Eman Sob, will be supporting me in that role. All right, before I go forward with the introduction of what we have this evening, just to mention that we have all our activities, like the seminar we have this evening will be put on our YouTube channel once it is ready. So my colleagues will put the link to the YouTube channel, ASFI YouTube channel. If you want to see what we have done in the past, please feel free to go to that space, look out for the tips and tricks, look out for previous seminar series, look out for our courses. For those who were not accepted to the course we are running now, reproducibility and scientific research, due to the number, the sessions we have, they are put on the YouTube channel immediately after every class, so you can easily follow what is there. All right, so please make use of that opportunity. So the question we have this evening and for the rest of this year in the seminar series is, why innovation in research in Africa? Why innovation? I'm not sure how you have been thinking about these things with regards to your own research, but you can see the trend going around the world: innovation, innovation, not only in research, but in every part of our human existence. Innovation, even in if you bring it to the religious setting, the churches, the mosque, and people have introduced religious innovation as well. The innovation is the word people are running with, and in research, it needs to not to miss in your research. But why do we need it in Africa at this time? All right, this is a text I like so much, and those who have been attending our programs know I often show this. This is a UNESCO statement in which they clearly state the ultimate goal of research or science, that it is a collective, the greatest collective endeavor, which ensures longer and healthier life for us. It provides medicine to cure our diseases. It provides water to quench our thirst. It helps us to grow our foods. It provides energy for our consumption. It makes life more fun. All right. It generates solutions for everyday life. And I was highlighting this part also on Friday when we had the first edition for this year of Dr. Warren's Research Tips and Tricks. In essence, science must respond to societal needs and global challenges. And we know that the global challenges we have may be localized, it may be nationalized, are taking different forms. They are assuming different forms. They are coming in different shapes. And so we need to respond appropriately as scientists, as researchers, to these challenges that come our way. That is the ultimate goal of research. So if our research are not addressing societal problems, responding to issues we have, then we are not achieving what we should be achieving with our research. We need to go back to the drawing board. This year, we want to make that statement to encourage us on the path that we need to take in achieving what we need to achieve. All right. The other thing I would like to say, why innovation in African research? Our continent lags behind in almost every indicator of development. We can argue that anyway, but certain things are clear, even to the blind. Even to the blind, certain things are clear. And so these statistics are global statistics, which people can doubt, but you can see that we as a people are not where we need to be, whether with regards to Human Development Index, whether with life expectancy, whether with the projections have been made, drinking water, clean drinking water. In fact, this statistic shows that we were better off many years back than we are today. So there are more people in Africa who do not have access to clean drinking water in 2015 than they were in 1990. This is the number of people in extreme poverty, and it also shows that in 1990 we are better off than we would be in 2030. The issue of internet, Africa is far behind many continents, even though statistics shows that few years before we were all at par at the same level, but we have been left behind. All right. Yes, this was where some of the considerations Prof. Hubert Giesen was looking, and he said the challenges faced are colossal, complex, and we need to put the best brains together. We need collaboration, sharing of knowledge and information. We need open science approaches. In essence, he's localizing what we are going through as a people within the space of scholars, within the space of scientists. And of course, we need collaboration across board. We need government, we need private sector. As scientists, there is a lot of expectations for us to generate evidence that will support societal growth. Regardless of what policy that the government makes, the policies will only work on the best available evidence. We have the mandate to actually generate those evidence. He went further to say that to benefit from the wealth of resources we have as a people and to address the challenges, the continent needs a bold strategy, and science, technology, and innovation needs to be at the core of whatever strategy on board. So, ladies and gentlemen, the die is cast, and we have been located as those who drive development in Africa. The question is, how ready are we? Okay, and so that is why we are taking this journey in 2024. But as we start, people want to know, what is innovation in research? Or what is innovative research? What are the opportunities in and for Africa in terms of innovative research? What are the challenges in achieving it? How is it integrated in the research process? What are the steps to achieving it? And many more questions that will be raised. That is our journey in 2024. So please introduce yourself, as said, on the chat box. And as the speaker is going through, please post your questions on the chat box. We'll be collecting them and we'll be showing them on the screen for the speaker once he finishes his presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the first edition we have, and we have Professor Frederick Atto-Ama. Professor Frederick Atto-Ama is a friend of the house. He always responds whenever we call on him, and we appreciate that. He's available. He's a Pan-Africanist who wants to support any development that will take us in that process of development. He's a professor of environmental and sustainability science at the University of Cape Coast in Ghana. He was the director of the Directorate of Research, Innovation and Consulting at the University of Cape Coast from April 2019 to July 2022. Professor Ama is a current Ghana's representative on science, technology, and innovation to the ECOWAS Commission in Abuja, Nigeria. His research interests include socio-ecological systems, global environmental mitigation and adaptation, environmental management, remediation and policy, human health risk assessment, participatory resources management, agri-food system, and applied multivariate environmental statistics. He has taught at all levels of the educational ladder, from primary, secondary, and since 1995. Prof. Ama has considerable experience in critical leadership roles and grant sourcing and management. He has consulted widely for several national and international organizations, including USAID, Atmos Group, the World Bank, African Capacity Building Foundation, Swedish International Development Cooperation Agency, German Development Bank, and the United Nations. He has published extensively in peer-reviewed journals of international repute. Prof. Ama has the editorial board of Climatic Change, publisher Springer, African Review, Taylor and Francis as publisher, and Frontiers in Environmental Science, Frontiers in Public Health. In 2020, Prof. Ama won the Association of American Publishers Awards for professional and scholarly excellence in sciences, together with co-authors of the 6th edition of the UN Global Environment Outlook Report. He is a member of the Intergovernmental science policy platform on biodiversity and ecosystem services, where he serves as a Nexus assessment scoping expert. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues from across the continent and abroad, please join me in welcoming our speaker for this evening, first edition of the African Science Frontiers Initiative Science Seminar Series for 2020, Prof. Ato Ama, to present this inaugural seminar on innovation in research. What is it? Ama, the floor is yours, and I hope your mic is open. Please, let me.
Yeah, thank you very much, my brother Bright, for this gracious introduction. I'm humbled by the introduction. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be part of this wonderful initiative. I want to thank your co-convener, Iman Sob, my sister, and for all the others that are involved in this initiative to capacitate the young and build a critical mass of scholars on the continent who can drive the developmental agenda of the continent of Africa. So I'm most grateful for this opportunity. Let me see if I can share my screen.
Yes, Prof.
Please, is my screen?
Yes, we can see you.
Yeah. Is it projected?
Yes.
Full screen. Okay. Yes. So today we'll be talking about innovation in research, and then we'll try to characterize what it is. And for the presentation, we'll start by what is innovation, asking that question, what is innovation? We'll look at the determinants of innovation. We'll look at the preconditions for innovation. We'll look at various types of innovation that we see, not only in the domain of research, but in other domains as well. We'll talk about the fact that scientific research and knowledge production, even as well as innovation, has evolved during the past 70 years. And this evolution has brought in its wake different ways by which we do science or research. And some of them are innovative, and we'll allude to that. Then we'll also talk about the research innovation ecosystem, because research and innovation do not happen in a vacuum. We have the framework within which research innovation occurs, and we'll look at that ecosystem. We'll also talk about innovation and the research life cycle, and then pinpoint the fact that innovation can take place at every stage of the research cycle and the research process. And then we'll draw the curtain down on this seminar or lecture by looking at the quality indicators that we use to gauge research and innovation. In the 21st century, innovation is imperative. Society has become much more complex than before. The challenges that we are confronted with as Africans and as a global village have become much more complex and complicated. Multifaceted and multidisciplinary challenges are what we see today. And for this reason, we need to innovate in order to keep pace or even to be ahead of the challenges that are constantly confronting us as a people. So innovation is therefore essential for us to make the world a better place to live in. And then we know that scientists are always enjoined to promote innovation and then assist society, even in terms of improving health outcomes when it comes to the development of novel drugs and therapies, develop technologies, innovative technologies for communication, making technical devices much more energy efficient. These are all innovations that we see in the 21st century. Even this particular meeting that we are holding is part of innovation. 40 or 50 years back, this was not in vogue, but innovation has made sure that we are holding this meeting across the globe with participants from all geopolitical domains on the continent. Then we know that academic institutions, granting agencies, funding agencies, governments are all encouraged to devise novel methods, concepts, models, theories, instruments to ensure that innovation is thriving. But then this is the context within which we see innovation. And what is innovation itself? Now we'll consider what Ulrich Anders has proposed as what innovation is. According to Ulrich Anders, innovation is a new and implemented solution or approach that brings value by solving a relevant problem for society. So if it is innovative, the focus should be solving societal problems. And here, the problems that Ulrich Anders talks about are problems in the area of products, problems in the area of processes, and problems in the area of paradigms. When we talk of paradigms, we are talking about worldviews. And typically, worldviews have three pillars. You have the ontology, you have the epistemology, and you have the axiology. Today, we are not doing philosophy, so I'm not going to delve deep into that. But that is paradigms for you. Now, there are prerequisites for innovation. And for us to be able to turn ideas into innovation, we need to refine that idea. Ideas need to be refined because not all ideas are viable. Not all ideas are sustainable. So you need to refine the idea, fine-tune the idea in order to be innovative. And then you need many people and resources to implement the idea. Then, because ideas are not foolproof, it means that most of the ideas will fail. That means that you require long-term persistence, effort, investment, and support. If you are not persistent, there is no way that innovation can emanate. There are a number of people that have made breakthroughs in innovation, but what we know is the innovation. If they are able to tell us the number of failures before the innovation or before the breakthrough, you'll be surprised. So these are the prerequisites for innovation. And then when it comes to ideas, creativity, and innovations, Ulrich Anders is saying that an idea is just a new thought. A good idea is promising and may have some value to it. Good ideas must be structured thoughts. The thought must be structured. There must be some logical coherency to the idea. And then there should be some building blocks that underpin that idea or knowledge. So when you refine the idea, then you have to take it through some critical testing processes, and then the feedback information that you elicit from that process will tell you in what way you need to refine that idea. Now, when we talk of innovations, innovations are significantly different from existing solutions. So marginal improvements are typically not considered as innovations. You need significant or grand improvements for us to say that this is innovative. And then we also need an innovative mindset, which also is characterized by the willingness and sense of agency. An innovative mindset is also characterized by competence, creativity, and intuition. It is also characterized by freedom to explore, try and test your ideas through time. It is characterized by openness and feedback and collaboration. You should be bold enough to share your thoughts or ideas with somebody for people to make input so that your idea can be refined and make it better. And because we've already indicated that ideas and innovation are not foolproof, it means that it goes through a series of steps, implementation processes that are iterative. So it is not linear. It is not linear. It is something that goes back and forth. And we need to understand that from that particular point of view. And then for us to have an innovative mindset, we should also be able to accept risk, loss of investment, and all of that. If you are risk averse, you can never be innovative because you will not be adventurous and you will not venture into the domain of innovation. Now, we talk about research organizations, companies, and all of that. Sometimes they fail because they do not make it a priority when it comes to innovation. They are not, they may have the idea, but the willingness to test the idea and invest in the necessary time and resources is lacking, and for which reason they fail. And then there's always the tension between short-term goals and long-term goals. And people always want to take the shortcuts. So sometimes what happens is that once we value the short-term benefits more than the long-term benefits, we are also not able to innovate. These are a few of the things that we see when it comes to reasons why we fail. Now, so we have said that innovations are new. They are not marginal improvements on existing solutions. They are new, and they are a different way of doing things, bringing efficiency, efficacy, and effectiveness to the way we do things. Now, when it comes to the determinants of innovation, we know that we have individual level factors and group organizational level factors that underpin or that determine innovation. And the literature is clear that some of the individual level factors also play out at the group level. But you may also have instances where there's antagonism between the individual level factors and the group level factors. If you take individual level factors, issues like or concepts like confidence, self-efficacy, attributes like curiosity, autonomy, perception of a safe environment, clarity of objectives, diversity and support for innovation are all factors or attributes that actually help us to innovate. So they are positively related to innovation. At the group level, you may have other factors that are very good at the individual level, but if it rears its head at the group level, it is counterproductive. Individualism is good when you are an individual, you are innovating, but when you are in a group and you are individualistic, then it means that your personal goal is trying to detract from the corporate goal, and that can affect innovation. Openness to experience is a good thing for the group. Pressure from external demands, time and financial resources, reflexivity are all factors that operate at the group level and help us to innovate. But as we said, the key message here is that some of the individual level factors are good only at the individual level, but when you bring those traits within the group setting, they may undermine the potential for innovation. So we have spoken about what is innovation, and then we have also spoken about the prerequisites or the determinants of innovation, factors that manifest at the individual level and factors that manifest at the group level. And then you also have an interplay between the individual level factors and the group level factors. And the resultant can be synergistic, can be additive, or can even be antagonistic. So it means we have to look at the interplay of the individual level factors and the group level factors as we look at how they are related to innovation. Now we want to shift our attention to types of innovation. Types of innovation, innovation typology. There are a plethora of innovations that we see. So we have process innovation, we have radical innovation, we have design innovation, we have service innovation, we have platform innovation, we have incremental innovation, we have inclusive innovation, we have open innovation, we have frugal innovation, we have need-based innovation, we have responsible innovation, and we have transformative innovation. And within any corporate environment, all of these innovations can be present. So it means one innovation form is not mutually exclusive of the other. And within even a project, you may have these various forms of innovation manifesting. Let me elaborate on a few of the innovations that I've just mentioned now. Now, process innovation, we are thinking about implementation of a new or significantly improved delivery method. So we know that in the past, a number of surgeries were done by cutting people open and going to the organ and isolating that particular organ for attention. But now we have process innovations where surgeries can be done without touching the patient physically. So the instruments will go there and undertake the surgery, and it's non-invasive because you don't have to touch the patient. the system, the laser or the light system that has been designed goes there to undertake the operation or the surgery in a seamless and harmless manner. That is process innovation. And then radical innovation is something in innovation that really is very groundbreaking. It changes existing business models. We can take, for instance, the fact that in most countries, we use cash. The transition from a society that uses cash to a cashless society is radical, where you don't carry cash anywhere, but everything that you do is electronic or web-based. It's very important. Design innovation is also something which is similar to radical innovation. Platform innovation. We see a lot of platform innovations here. In the past, you went to the market to buy goods and you paid for the goods right there and then. Now you can purchase goods from all over the world using a platform, and then the goods will be delivered to you within that platform. Now, even you think of transportation, we have taxis are still in vogue, but you have other forms of transport, short-term transports that people are using. You have online platforms that will allow you to hail those rides. So ride-hailing services is a typical example of platform innovation. So you pay for the Yango or the Uber or any kind of thing using that platform without necessarily paying with cash. So that is a platform innovation. Then when it comes to services, service delivery is something that has come in many forms, in many industries. Many industries deliver services, and they try to innovate in that particular stance. Now, inclusive innovation is very important. I need to mention inclusive innovation because it has been said, the literature says that the technologies that we have are technologies that were brought from elsewhere and are not adapted to our system, because in the development of the technology or in the development of the innovation, the people who are going to be using it, the marginalized, the vulnerable, the deprived communities were not consulted, were not involved in the design of the innovation. So if you take, for instance, the laptops that we have, you don't see your language as one of the languages that you have in the laptop. So you have to only use English or French or any of those languages. So in that sense, it is not inclusive. It's not an inclusive innovation. So when it comes to inclusive innovation, you are thinking of issues about diversity, issues about equity, equality, and then epistemic justice, making sure that the development of the technology or the innovation takes into account a broad spectrum of stakeholder views, especially for those who are vulnerable and marginalized. And then for open innovation, you are thinking about something that goes beyond an organization. You are involving lay perspectives together with the expert perspectives when it comes to sharing of knowledge and information that you are using to develop the innovation. And then frugal innovation is, in our context, also very important, because in our context, the innovations that are expensive are likely not to be purchased because people do not have the financial wherewithal to buy it. So frugal innovation is saying that you should develop innovations, but then the innovation that you develop must be innovations that are low cost, using low cost materials that we see every day around us, that people identify with, so that that technology or that innovation can easily be bought by somebody who is poor. So that is frugal innovation, using low cost innovations or method designs that can be easily diffused in the economy. And then need-based responsible innovation, they are all closely related to innovations that are open. So you want to make sure that you are promoting creativity that is socially desirable. A broad spectrum of stakeholders are agreed to it. Then when it comes to need-based innovation, it means that a particular society may go through some particular problem or critical need that warrants the development of the innovation. 4 years ago or 3 years ago, we saw what happened when COVID emerged. and a number of institutions, scientists from all over the world were engaged to develop vaccines for COVID-19. That is a need-based innovation, because you have a calamity which is inflicting society or afflicted society, and then you have to now innovate to address that looming challenge. So that is needs-based innovation. We must understand that the way we do science today was not the way science was done 60 or 70 years ago. So scientific discovery and knowledge production has evolved over the past 70 years. So we want to talk about the changing modes of knowledge production. So here, when I talk about science, I'm not only talking about laboratory science, where you are mixing reagents and doing laboratory tests. Science as knowledge production. That is what I'm talking about. Science as inquiry. So any systematic process that you deploy to gain knowledge or to learn, we are calling science in the context of this particular lecture. So we have three epochs when it comes to knowledge production, the evolution of knowledge production. We have the mode 1 science, which was also referred to as the little science, that's before the Second World War. And then mode 1.5 science, which was called the big science, that is between the 1940s and 1960s. And then mode 2 science, which is called the techno science, that is science that was done from the 1970s onwards. Now, if you take the mode 1 science, the science that we did during that time, or the knowledge production during that time, was only within specific scientific disciplines. So if you take, for instance, biology, all the knowledge that was produced by biologists in that discipline. That's how knowledge was generated. So you have research groups in biology nested in academic institutions, and they produced the knowledge. And that is the knowledge that we call mode 1 science. And in that kind of knowledge, they didn't entertain new ways of learning from other disciplines, because the philosophical underpinnings from other disciplines was contrary to what they had in biology or in the life sciences. You can take any of the life sciences, biology, chemistry, those sciences. That is how it was done. So that was mode 1 science. Then a few years thereafter, after the Second World War, 20 years thereafter, between that particular duration or span, a number of disciplines were coming together to work. And these were based in research and development institutions. And the dominant values was not academic, as in the previous one I alluded to. It was more bureaucratic. So more of processes and hierarchical structures that were put in place. A typical example is the development of atomic bomb or the atomic energy. You realize then that you had chemists that were looking at nuclear reactions, and you have physicists that were also looking at nuclear reactions. They had come together. Chemists and physicists came together, but they were still working within their respective disciplines to understand the generation of atomic energy. Then mode 2 science, which is from 1970 onwards, that is the production of knowledge that goes beyond disciplinary boundaries. You have ad hoc networks, a number of networks, and here they were looking at the application of scientific knowledge for the development of innovation and for societal good. So it was very entrepreneurial in scope and outlook. A typical example is genetic engineering. Genetic engineering is rooted in biology, because biology talks about genetics, but then you are applying technological tools to genetics, and then you are looking at how that will be useful for business and industry. So that is how science has evolved during the past 70 years. And this is what I was talking about. So you have, when it takes the multidisciplinary knowledge, which we see here, I'm trying to use the pointer so at least you see where I am. So you have a problem, and then when it comes to multidisciplinary science, you have people from engineering, people from biology, people from public policy, anthropology, and data science, all looking at that same problem from their disciplinary perspectives. They are working together as a team, but they are using tools, methods, techniques, frameworks and philosophical underpinnings from their specific disciplines, even though they are working as a team. So data scientists are using data science techniques to solve the problem together with an engineer, but they don't cross over. The public policy person using tools of biology. It doesn't work that way. Then when it comes to interdisciplinary, here you have information flow or knowledge flow between the academic disciplines. So public policy domains as sharing knowledge with biologists, biologists sharing knowledge with data scientists, and vice versa. Data scientists and engineers sharing knowledge, and then anthropologists and public policy also sharing knowledge. And together, the knowledge that they generate will then feed into the solution of that problem. That is interdisciplinary. Then you have the transdisciplinary. When it comes to the transdisciplinary, it is much more integrated. That means that it's actually imperative that you use necessarily tools, techniques, and frameworks from other disciplines beyond your discipline. If you don't do that, it is not in transdisciplinary. If you're a biologist and you are using only tools that biologists use, but you're not using tools from other academic disciplines in your work, you are not transdisciplinary. So that is basically the difference. So for transdisciplinary, you are looking at integrative knowledge co-production. And this is where new academic fields emanate. In the past, you have, let's say, data science, and then you have big data. So now you have nesting of the two to get big data science. And so many things coming together in that particular context. Now, so you realize that we have moved from disciplinary science to multidisciplinary science to interdisciplinary science to transdisciplinary science. And the transdisciplinary is the most integrative, or the one that allows for participatory methods. And participatory methods are salient because they help us to develop a shared vision of how resources should be managed. They help us to build confidence and capacity for collective action and decision-making, advocacy, and innovation. It also helps us to learn on the fly. When you are with another individual or scientist from a different disciplines, you learn the way they do things on the fly. So it is a learning-based in action process of inquiry and reflection. It makes you rethink the way you have conceptualized scientific problems from your own discipline in the past, and you are open to new ideas. It helps us to learn from and cope with perceptions from different set of stakeholders who are not necessarily academics, because in transitional approaches or participatory approaches, we allow for lay expertise. You have some communities that have lived with water bodies for so many years, and based on the years of experience they've engaged with that water body, they can give you information that will never be found in any scientific literature. So their knowledge, that indigenous knowledge, local knowledge, is also pertinent when it comes to solving problems for society. So the participatory methods also help us to better understand and manage social and biosocial, physical, complex, diverse, and dynamic problems of today. If you take, for instance, issues about climate change is multifaceted. It is multi-sectorial. It is multidisciplinary. So you need a better understanding of how the social interplays or interfaces with the biophysical to lead to complexity, which can be solved only through transdisciplinary approaches. And then when we are using participatory approaches, it allows us to include less powerful stakeholders, such as women and disadvantaged groups. And it helps us to focus on equity issues. We've mentioned open innovation, and then we've also mentioned innovation that is inclusive, that takes into account marginalized voices of marginalized groups. So science is increasingly becoming transdisciplinary. We are using different approaches to do science than we did 70 years ago. And this is also innovation. The fact that we have transitioned from disciplinary science to interdisciplinary science to transdisciplinary science is innovation in itself. Now, also, when we use participatory methods, it helps us to also conceptualize issues from the technical, from the geographical, from the organizational scope. It also helps us to look at things from a spatio-temporal dimension. Problems manifest over space and time. So we must understand that the scale of the problem will determine the nature of the solution, nature and scope of the solution that we are likely to proffer. So we have to look at spatio-temporal dimensions of problems, the geographical antecedents to the problem, the organizational, the technical are also very important when it comes to that. These transdisciplinary approaches that we have mentioned are not approaches that operate in a vacuum. They are nested in a broader research innovation ecosystem. So we are saying that transdisciplinary approaches are innovative, but that innovation takes place within what we call the research and innovation ecosystem. Now I want to take a look at the research innovation ecosystem stakeholders. Now, if you take the innovation stakeholders, it means we are talking about multi-sectorial dimensions. So you have the education and research sector, you have the public sector, you have the societal sector, you have the funding sector, you have the private sector. So this is multi-sectorial. If we were to take the education and research sector alone, you will find that you have research institutes, research labs. Scientists are operating from there. You also have research councils, academies of sciences. In all African countries, or many African countries, you have research councils and you have academies of sciences. They are part of the research innovation ecosystem. You have private universities, you have public universities. You have higher education institutions, and you have vocational and technical institutions. You have primary and secondary schools. They are all part of the education and research sector. So it means that the scientific knowledge that we do in all of these domains will help us to innovate. Then we come to the other domain of the education and research sector, where you have product innovation, where you commercialize the research, you contract the research, and then you have commercial training, people who will be using the innovations that have been developed for commercial purposes or for entrepreneurial purposes. Then you come to the public sector, there's government ministries, decentralized government agencies at the subnational level, that is regional and local governments. You have community centers and libraries where the knowledge will be there as repositories, and other public institutions. They are all within this domain. And there's training and project implementation for society. You also have grants, micro loans, seed funding for research from the funding sector. And then even the private sector, you have small and medium scale enterprises, you have indigenous cottage industries, you have entrepreneurship and startups, and even spin-offs from universities. In the past 20 years, it is becoming clear that universities are becoming more entrepreneurial, where the innovations that they churn out, they create spin-off organizations within the university campuses to market this and bridge the gap between academia and industry. That is very important. So you have innovation communities as well. We have the national research and educational networks. You have living labs, you have innovation spaces, and then the technology to deploy the innovation. We must also understand that beyond the research and innovation ecosystem, innovation can occur at every stage of the research life cycle. Now, if we take the 6-stage research life cycle, that is getting started with your research, finding funding for your research, developing and submitting your proposal, setting up the funding that you have obtained for your research, managing these research funds, sharing the research that you have undertaken to build a critical mass of knowledge and innovation for society. These are all very important stages. So getting started with your research is where you begin and how you find collaborators for your research. In the past, 50 or 60 years ago, you had individual scientists working alone. Now, that is no longer in vogue. You must collaborate. You must work with other labs. So you must, at the very planning stages, begin to look for potential collaborators for your research. And you must be innovative at this stage as well. So you must think of who you are bringing on board to partner you as part of this research, you must look at a blend of young academics, mid-career academics, and late-stage academics. You must look at males and females at different career progression stages to bring that, you bring them on board, and that is also innovation. You must look at the core competencies and skill sets of the team members. That is also innovation. All of this play out when you are at the stage where you are getting started with your research. Then in finding the funding sources, you must also be exploring different sources of funding that's available to you in your research domain or research space. That also takes innovation. You must look at funders that are episodic, funders that are always systematic in their funding, and then funders that are thematic in their funding. You must be innovative when you are looking for research funds. And then even in the development and submission of the proposal, you have to look at the host of material or knowledge products that you can use in developing a successful proposal. If setting up your award, when you receive funds for the research, you need to look at how the funds will be managed. The technical bit you may do excellent on, but when it comes to the financial bit, you need to be innovative and get team members who can actually assist in the execution of the project in a seamless manner. That is very, very important. And then you come to sharing your research. There are several tools that have been developed when it comes to sharing your research. Several tools, a plethora of them, about 101 tools for sharing your knowledge. There are a lot of them that you can use if you want to be innovative. Now, we've spoken about the general research life cycle, but now we are talking about only the research process, which is one of the stages of the research cycle. So you are asking questions based on what you have observed and what you know. So the questions that you are asking must also be innovative. In other words, the question that you want to answer as part of your research should not be something we already know. You must be interested in accumulating evidence on that particular subject matter. What is it that we know already from different contexts? And if we were to pull the knowledge together, what is the big picture perspective that emerges from the amalgamation of this knowledge? What is it that we know and what is it that we don't know? You must be innovative in asking questions that will lead to new knowledge and innovation. Then in developing the research topic, you also have to allude or even refer to what we already know, the extant literature. And by resorting to the extant literature, you want to look at ways people have done the research in the past and how you can do something different. By doing something different, you are being innovative. This goes for developing the research question, choosing a study design, collecting the data, analyzing the data, drawing conclusions, and informing others. It goes for all of these phases of the research process. You must be innovative in all of these phases of the research. In the past, if you wanted to, for instance, interview people or survey people, you had to go to them in person to do that survey. Now, through the research process, we have innovated. Now you're able to send questions to people far away, and they'll be able to answer, and you will elicit the answers that will help you to bridge the knowledge gap. So this is also very important for us to know. Each stage of the research process, there's opportunity for us to innovate. Now, if we look at this taxonomy of innovation canvas that we see, there are different types of research. You have ethnographic research, you have participatory research, you have evaluative research. Each of them has different tools that people use when they want to innovate. And these were not tools that were available 20 years ago. So in the past 10 to 15 years, a number of tools and techniques have evolved or emerged that have made research much more interesting and sophisticated. And we are seeing new things that we never saw, and that is the innovation that we are talking about. So if you are interested in people and systems, if you're interested in patterns and priorities, if you're interested in problem framing, there are several techniques that have come to the fore that are innovative that you can use. You can talk about statement status, abstraction laddering. You can talk about problem tree analysis. You can talk about affinity clustering, importance difficulty matrix. These are all new techniques that help us to understand, analyze, and then look at challenges and opportunities within the research innovation space. Now, there are a number of innovative tools that have emerged, as I said earlier on, in the last decade. Tools that have emerged when it comes to experimenting and collecting data. Innovative tools have emerged when it comes to experimenting and collecting or mining data. Something like mini labs, liquid IO, sample of science, which is produced by a German organization, crowd-truth. These are all tools that have emerged that you can use to do your research when it comes to experimenting or mining data. When it comes to writing your research for dissemination to the public, tools that have come include Authorea, Fidos Writer, R Markdown, Shiny Studio, or R Studio. These are all tools that are open source tools that are innovative, that will help you to do your research in a much more sophisticated and innovative manner. When it comes to general selection tools, there are a number of innovative technologies that have also been deployed. Journal Guide, Journal Reviewer, Journalisys, SciRev, where you can post reviews, reviewers' comments, and to look at the time lag it takes for people to receive comments from that particular academic discipline. And then when it comes to publishing, you have Science Open, ProcPros, Paper Now. When it comes to even outreach, reaching the young with the knowledge that you have produced, the scientific knowledge you have produced, Frontiers for Young Minds, Draw Science, Useful Science, and Science Worthy. So innovations abound. There are a lot of innovations that have taken place during the past decade that helps us as scientists to be able to do our work much more seamlessly. Now, we also need to think about how we evaluate the quality of research and then innovation. For every research, we must gauge its quality. And there must be metrics, there must be indicators, there must be benchmarks that we use to determine whether this research is innovative or not. There must be benchmarks we use to see whether this research is of a high standard or high quality or not. And that is something that we need to look at briefly. For funders, they are interested in looking at the quality of your research proposal. So the question that they ask is the proposed research innovative? Can it contribute immensely to the state of knowledge in that particular academic field or multidisciplinary domain? How does the proposed research compare to what we already know? This is very important. Funders are also interested in knowing the impact of your research. To what extent would this research enhance infrastructure for commercialization, networks and partnerships, business and industry? Funders are interested in that. What are the potential impacts when it comes to technological commercialization of your research that you are doing? In other words, what is the nature and scope of the innovation that the research team are proposing? Will the results be disseminated broadly to enhance its societal and technological understanding? We don't want the science of the 1950s where scientists were in the ivory tower and everything they did, they said it is only understood by scientists. Now we are saying that you should innovate. You should make sure that the science that you are producing is disseminated in a way that the lay person can understand the value of the science that you have done and identify with it and to see that indeed you have contributed something to society. Very important. Funders are also interested in knowing whether the research that you are doing aligns with industry needs. Industry is always innovating. Industry is always looking for ways for entrepreneurship and commercialization. So they want to see whether the scientific research that you are doing has any value proposition that they can really latch onto when it comes to advancing the entrepreneurship drive. Now, when it comes to evaluating innovation or the quality of research, there are several frameworks, but I want to allude to one of the frameworks where we are talking about the relevance of the research and innovation that you are doing, the credibility of the research innovation that you are doing as a scientist, the legitimacy of the research and innovation that you are doing as a scientist, and then the positioning for use, that is the application of the knowledge that you are going to produce from your research. The scientific endeavor is also very important. When it comes to relevance, it is important to know whether this research, the scientific adventure that you are embarking on, has a clearly defined problem context. Is the problem relevant to that society? You see, if you do science which is not relevant to your society, the value will not be appreciated. Science which is appreciated by society is what resonates with societal values and norms in that particular realm or domain. So relevance is important. Does that research and innovation engage with the problem context? Is this something that we see is a big problem in that area that people in that community are suffering from, and for which reason they need some innovation or some solutions? You want to know whether there's some explicit pathway that you are going to make impact with your innovation. So those are things that relate to the relevance. When it comes to legitimacy, we are interested in whether the scientist is working alone in his lab or he or she is collaborating with other stakeholders who have some knowledge to share when it comes to that problem context. We want to see whether there's genuine and explicit inclusion. Sometimes the research partnerships that we have are something that reflects tokenism. Tokenism in the sense that you want to put it there that you have consulted some marginalized group, but you have not actually taken the pains to actually involve them, consult them deeply the way it ought to be done in an ethical manner. So that is something that it antagonizes the legitimacy of your research and innovation or your scientific adventure. Then the credibility. We want to know whether the scientific adventure you are embarking on is based on sound judgment, appropriate methods, whether you have the core competencies and skill set to undertake it, whether you have broad preparation before you set out to do it. Those are issues about credibility. Are the team members people who have done work in that area that we can have confidence in them? Can we repose any trust in them to accomplish what they said they are going to do as part of this research innovation adventure? And then when it comes to the scientific knowledge that you generate, we want to see whether the results are significant, because we don't want the knowledge that we are producing to lag far behind the number of scientific outputs that we have. Typically, knowledge production lags behind the number of papers, and people are always concerned when it comes to that. Is the knowledge something that we can apply practically in different contexts? These are issues that are very important that we have to take into account when it comes to evaluating the potential of the research for innovation and the potential of this research for high quality. So we have to also understand that innovation is not an end in itself, but innovation is instrumental in the sense that is the means to an end. So the value of innovation is that society will embrace it. Society will say that this has come to meet our need. That is the value of innovation. So if the innovation that we want to churn out from our scientific endeavors is just a means to an end. It is a pathway that we take to benefit society. We have to understand it from that particular standpoint. And as we draw the curtain down on the lecture, we want to ask ourselves this particular question. In what way can you, as a scientist, as a researcher, innovate in your academic research or professional setting? This is food for thought. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Ama, for this very inspiring, eye-opening, and educative speech. You have touched on a number of things that we should really take home. Time will not permit me to summarize everything, but just to highlight some of the things I got from here. First, when you started, something you mentioned that was quite significant to me was that innovation requires a mindset. It requires a mindset. It has a mindset. Then you mentioned that it is not linear. It requires back and forth. And in this case, I think there is a virtue we need in this, and that is patience. We need patience to get it. It's not something that we do in a hurry. And one of the mindset you mentioned also was that it involves failure, which is inevitable. So we have to have the mindset of learning from failure and aiming to improve in what we do. And in terms of defining innovation, you mentioned that innovation represents the new. So it's not a marginal improvement in an existing solution. Then something else I also picked up that is important was the movement from disciplinary research to interdisciplinary to transdisciplinary. And you mentioned that transdisciplinary research in itself is innovative. And we should aim for that. So many years back, people just sat down by themselves and did what they did. But nowadays, for us to implement innovation, we need to cross borders. We need to learn from each other. And then this give and take helps us to improve both individually and operatively. And finally, the last point I pick from what you have said is that innovation is not an end in itself. It is an instrument. And therefore, if we work and the society does not benefit, then it's not innovative. And I think that is food for thought. For Africa, in the research we do, how much does it go to the society? How much does the society make use of that? All right, several questions have come forward, Prof, and I will show them, see how many of them we can take before our time is up. I will show them and I will read them from here and then you can respond. The first one is, how can innovation be? Prof, did you want to say something?
Yes, I want to say that even though the questions are to me, to be innovative, we must also open the floor for some participants to share thoughts on the questions.
Yes, that will be. So yeah, please, if you have any thoughts to share, just raise your hand and then I will recognize you to do that. So just raise your hand once you have something to share with us. All right, how can innovation be more institutionalized in Africa? Prof.
Thank you very much. This is a very important question, and I want to commend the colleague who asked that question. Now, institutionalizing innovation in Africa is a sustainability issue. You need, first of all, systems, mechanisms, processes in place. Systems, processes, mechanisms, policies in place to ensure you institutionalize innovation on the continent. You can't leave innovation to chance. You can't leave it to episodes. You must make a conscious effort, and the conscious effort have to be in certain domains. And these are the domains that I'm talking about, the domains of policy. You should put in place policy interventions that will ensure that innovations will occur. And the policy interventions have to do with the financial resources, the technical resources. You must have policies that focus on financial resources, policies that focus on technical competencies and resources. You should have policies that focus on partnerships. You should have policies that talk about forming partnerships. So you don't leave it to chance. One of the ways of demonstrating that you are committed to transdisciplinary research is the amount of money you allocate for research in that domain. it's a good indicator that this is where we want to be headed. It's a policy. So you should have a policy and say that if I want innovation to be widespread on the continent, then I have to form partnerships. And these transnational partnerships require investment, require time, require technical competencies, and I must be willing to fund it. Oftentimes, it is lip service. We just say we want to do it. When we just give it lip service, it doesn't translate to sustainability or institutionalization. For us to make it institutionalized, we must put in place policies about investments, policies about funding, policies about partnerships, policies about collaboration, policies about equipment drive. You need equipment to do innovative science, and you need to fund the equipment. You need to retool, you see. So policies on infrastructure, technical infrastructure, equipment is important. Policies on funds and investment is also important. Policies on collaboration, partnership is also important. And then you have processes. You have processes. Apart from the policies, you also have processes. You must make sure that the processes are not counterproductive. Sometimes you want to institutionalize innovation, and the process that people have to go through is so challenging that nobody wants to take the effort to go through it. They rather stay and not be innovative. So you must make sure that the processes are not cumbersome and bureaucratic, but the processes are processes that are seamless and allow for people to be able to work together. That is how come, or that is through, it is through that we can make sure that we have institutionalized innovation on the continent. And then we should not be afraid to fail. Failure is part of the process. I mean, in fact, we learn more from our mistakes than our successes. If you learn from your mistake, you know that this approach doesn't work. It means you have taken it from the plethora or the cocktail of solutions that you had, because it doesn't work. So it tells you that use a different approach. And it's very important that we should allow people to grow and to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes, and then make sure that we have put in place mechanisms that will ensure that the partnerships are institutionalized.
All right, thanks, Prof. I have Sami Bilal. I hope you want to contribute to this question before we go to the next one. Please unmute yourself as well.
Good evening, good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. Sami Bilal. I'm a Sudanese based on Saudi Arabia. Actually, I want to thank Professor Frederick for this very grateful lecture. I have maybe one comment or a question. I want to ask the professor, do you think the innovation is a shortcut to solution by utilizing the available resources? This is my first question. And also, I want you to differentiate for us between the research, which is searching for answering a question or a problem, and innovation. Is innovation is a way to find a solution? Thank you very much, Professor.
Prof. Sami, I will prefer that you write your question on the chat box. I will only allow comments if you want to speak, okay, because we have several questions that have come. So I want to prioritize those so that we don't leave those who have come first out. So if you write it there, I will take it up, and if we get to that point, we can address it. Otherwise, I will only allow those who want to contribute to the discussion. All right, Prof, let me go to the next question. Okay, the next one said, considering that innovation in its self-formative state is an intellectual property, how ready are African institutions to protect the intellectual properties of innovators?
Okay, thank you very much. This is also a very important question. One of the things we've seen on the continent is that people are afraid to partner. People are afraid to collaborate because they are afraid that the team member or some teams will take the innovation and run wild with it. And then the benefit that is supposed to accrue to them in terms of intellectual property will be lost. But when you are forming partnerships, there are frameworks to use. You have partnership co-design framework, which says that before you even come into partnership, you must itemize all the system boundaries of the partnership. One of the things that you can do is to talk about if we do this research and an innovation comes out, what will be the ownership of the innovation? And then while we are working together, it doesn't mean that we cannot partner with another institution, because institutions are always multitasking, doing different things at the same time. So you have multiple research groups. So you have to put in place a partnership charter that tells you what will happen to the intellectual property that will come from that research engagement or research partnership. Then it is protected because you already have a framework that you are using to distill what happens when you innovate in that particular partnership. So there will be no fear, or there will be no cause for alarm, because the document will specify what the proportions are. In some institutions, they will say that the proceeds from the intellectual property should be shared in this proportion. This proportion goes to the individuals who are team members. This proportion goes to their institutions where the equipment is based. This proportion goes to the laboratory where the research was carried out, and so on and so forth. So there are useful frameworks that can help us to safeguard our intellectual property, and then the fear of partnership will dissipate because you are covered by that particular framework.
Thank you, Prof, for that. Eman, I see your hand. You want to add to this?
Yes, it is also very important for the universities to promote the innovation culture and improve awareness about intellectual property framework. There are many researchers in African institutions who have the publish or perish stress, and some of them may have innovations that need to protect their intellectual property rights before publishing it as a piece of research, and they don't know. Then they come to ask after this, what can I do? So we need more in this about in the university cultures, and also the university stakeholders should make the environment more rewarding and more motivating researchers to do something within the university framework. Thanks.
Thank you, Eman, for that. Okay, the third one, should innovation be included as part of the key performance indicators of researchers, especially academic researchers?
Yes, this is also very important. So sometimes we need to distill innovative research and then innovation as a whole. So for instance, you can develop a technology, it's an innovation, but then it may not be part of the research process. So for academics, the primary goal is to generate knowledge. And as scientists, there are two types of research that we do. Either it is basic science or applied science, or a mixture of the two. So usually the applied sciences are the ones that come out with a lot of innovations and technologies. The basic science helps us to understand how the world works. And then based on that knowledge, we can apply it in various domains. For instance, if you do basic science, you know that when you drop a pen, the pen will fall irrespective of where you are. If you're on top of a building, you are in a valley, whatever it is, if you drop a pen, it must fall, because the law of gravity is a universal principle. So that is basic science, basic knowledge. But then you can use that knowledge, apply it to a certain domain, and be innovative in that domain. A number of institutions on the continent are beginning to change their outlook. Some of them are beginning to refer to themselves as digital universities. Some are also referring to themselves as entrepreneurial universities. Some are referring to themselves as open universities. And these characterizations come with a lot of commitment on the part of the faculty in those particular organizations. A university that is characterizing itself as an entrepreneurial university will demand of its scholars innovation, because they have an entrepreneurial outlook. They will demand innovation, and they may put it in their promotion criteria. Some universities are characterizing themselves as digital universities. So it means that it may be a science and technology university, and they are saying that they want innovative products in the domain of technology. So already scientists are innovating by the research methods we are using, the combination of research methods, the kind of tools and technologies that we have deployed to analyze the data. It's all innovation in one way or the other. But in some institutions, it's becoming much more formalized, where they are requiring faculty members to show innovation. For instance, you need to show that you have developed a particular product. If you take, for instance, an agricultural scientist who is a food scientist, they want you to have crops that are fortified with some beta-carotene or something like that, that will reduce malnutrition in some communities. That's innovation. Because you are an agricultural engineer or a food scientist, they want you to make sure that the knowledge that you have in beta-carotene, you are fortifying the food so that malnutrition will be reduced and society will benefit. So the question of making it a must is always something that is going to be debatable. But it is the outlook of the university that usually determines where the university is drifting or moving towards. And it will differ from place to place. You might have a university which is a teaching university, is predominantly a teaching university. They will not even require colleagues to be innovative. But even then, sometimes they can tell the faculty members who are teaching that, be innovative in your teaching. Be innovative in your teaching. So they don't want you to always standing in front of the students and telling them what to do, but you have to use other interactive modes, technology in the delivery of your knowledge or something to that effect.
All right, thank you very much, Prof, for that very impressive answer to that. All right, the fourth one, can we put quantitative outcomes of innovation for its impact analysis? For example, in the data form, can we contextualize innovation within a specific industry or sector to drive the narrative of innovation amongst African decision makers?
Yeah, so I see this as this is also a very important question. I see this question within the remit of science policy interface. Science policy interface. So you want to look at innovation for decision making at the policy level, and that is where some of these issues that the question has raised come to the fore. It's at the high level abstraction level where some of these questions come to the fore. So I would place this question within science policy interface, and it's definitely going to be an ongoing discussion. We may not have all the answers to the questions, but as I said, if colleagues have thoughts on this, they can share it with us to make the engagement much more enriching.
All right, let me go to the next one then. Yeah, applied research with socioeconomic impact or benefits is usually underfunded by the government due to the government's scarce financial resources, except through grants from individuals, private companies, development partners, etc. Can we share likely alternative ways to fund and encourage applied research based on what works in the non-African continents?
Yeah, this is also very important. Funding, the lifeblood of research innovation is funding. Some countries give funds to people to fail. They can give you 100 million US dollars and they say, play with it. If the blue sky research and all of those things, if you break through, you have broken through. If you lose, you've lost. But they are committed. They are willing to commit substantial amount of money for research and innovation when it comes to that. Now crowdfunding, crowdsourcing is becoming much more in vogue. Some research communities are using crowdfunding. They create a website and then they elicit support for that particular thing. And then through the funds that they generate, they use it to do research. There are also drawbacks. It's not always a seamless process. But we have to ask ourselves, which organizations are likely to fund the research that we are doing? If the research that we are doing has benefits for society, there's definitely going to be one group or the other that will be interested in the research that we are doing, and they are likely to fund it. Government support for research funding, we know they promised 1% of GDP to support research. It's more than 30 years now, and only 1 or 2 countries have met that threshold. So, and it's dwindling. It's even worsening than when they made the promise. So it means that is not where we can look at. But for us to be innovative in looking for funds, let's look at the 6 domains or the 5 domains or the 5 main actors when it comes to the research innovation ecosystem. So government is one of them, but we said we can't look at government because government is not something that is trustworthy when it comes to committing research funds. Now, then you have the business or the private sector or industry is also one of the key players in the research innovation ecosystem. How many research grants have universities obtained from industry? It's in our context, it's not that much. The partnership with industry is likely to leverage a lot of research funds to universities and research organizations, but we have not done that. So beyond government, you have also business, private sector, or industry. That's another one. And then you have civil society. You have a number of civil society groups or foundations that are giving a lot of funds to research based on the thematic area that you are concerned with. So government, we said it's out, but we have spoken about the private sector, business or industry. That's the second one. And then we are talking about civil society. That's the third one. And then you also sometimes have communities. Some communities that have some research funds that are available for specific research within that particular locality. We can look at those organizations or those communities as well. So if you look at it from the quintuple helix of innovation, government, civil society, private sector, communities, and academia, all as partners. If government is out, the other 4 partners are there that we can look to for funding.
All right. So, Prof, I will share the last one. This is not the last question, but that is how much we can take this evening. For those, we were able to capture every question. So for those that their questions have not been answered, this is in a series, we bring them forward to the subsequent speakers. So please try to join us. We don't want to take you beyond the time we have promised. We're really sorry for that, but the conversation has been quite enriching this evening, and I believe that you will not fail to join us in subsequent editions. So we'll take this last one this evening. I will close with some thoughts. From your experience, which innovation typology describes best the innovation research in Africa, Prof?
I would say, without any hesitation, frugal innovation. The innovation typology that is common in our part of the world is frugal innovation. If we were to go to a number of our small-scale industries and then innovators that we have, entrepreneurs who are mechanics, who are technologists, all they do is frugal innovation. So frugal innovation is dominant in our part of the world.
All right. Thanks, Prof. The final question here is the presentation. Most of the participants are requesting to have the presentation. If we have your permission, I will get it, then I will share it amongst the participants later. So Prof, thanks a lot. We appreciate the insight you have provided, and this has really set the pace and motivation for subsequent editions. You have always been there when we call on you. We have several events this year, so please expect that we will still call upon you as we move into the year. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been fantastic. I think this is a very good introduction into the theme we have for this year. Please join me use your button there to give a very big round of applause to Prof for the fantastic work he has done this evening. Yes, please. I'm not seeing any clap. Okay, I'm seeing some now. Great. Please keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Thanks a lot, Prof. All right. Let me just close with some thoughts. I have posted on the chat box the link to the survey we have now shared. Please just check that. Since you have registered for this event, we'll have your email and we'll also share it again with you. But this is a survey we are working on research misconduct in Africa. So please do two things. Fill it yourself. Fill it yourself. It shouldn't take more than 10 minutes to get it done. And please help us to send it across to your networks, your colleagues. It is very important to generate this type of information. You know, in the world we live now, it's the king is the one who has the data. And so our story is not the best to be told from outside. It's good for us to also tell our story. The data on research misconduct we have globally is mostly from the Western world. What we know from Africa is very scanty. And so this survey launched by ASFI is there to help us to capture the situation amongst us Africans. So please do justice to that. All right, I mentioned ASFI membership. If you have not joined, you also have the link on the chat box. Please do well to join so that you can support the activities we run here. The second edition of the Science Seminar Series is coming up on the 25th of February, and we'll be working on the topic, Innovative Research in Africa, the Urgencies. And this will be presented by Dr. Abiodun Benga Ilori, Deputy Director, Research and Innovation Office from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. So please, we have looked at innovation in research. What is it? Prof has done justice to that this evening. On the 25th of February, we'll be looking at the urgencies with regards to innovative research in Africa. More information will come with regards to registrations and the practical things later on. All right, Dr. Warren's Research Tips and Tricks, 23rd edition, What Scientists Do, Need for Specific Virtues, and that is coming on 23rd of February. So please join us also in this activity. And once again, Prof, thank you for this evening. And everyone, thank you for coming. Let me try to unmute you. You can now unmute yourself and speak, but I just want to wish you a very wonderful week ahead. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Professor Bright.
Thank you very much. We
All
appreciate
right,
it.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very grateful. Good night.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prof.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, our host. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you,
Good
Prof.
night,
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Prof, thanks very much and have a
All
good
right,
evening.
bye. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you so much.